people. Another beautiful day. Yeah. Hope your five senses work, health and strength is good or excellent. But what's up, gamers? Look, we're talking about this video game preservation and what is it? You know, I have heard this term video game preservation, but no one could explain it until I did it. Because people were just throwing around the term video game preservation, but they never could explain it. It's like, okay, video game preservation. Okay, what is it? Okay, it is to preserve video games Video games, okay. Go a little deeper. What do you mean by preserving video games? It stops right there. Because nobody really knew what video game preservation was. They were just throwing the word around, but they really didn't know this. So where I come in at now is what I got to find out what video game preservation really is now that everybody knows it. Nintendo had created the Wii U, right? And they had the 3DS. And then they had the Virtual Console. So you had the Wii U, which was a handheld and console in one. And then you had a lot of features with it that you need for today's time in video games. And then you have the 3DS. But then there's the Virtual Console. So with the Wii U and the 3DS, you got a problem. Because you had a handheld and console in one, but then you got a handheld. One is CD and one is cartridge. So you can't serve both of them, right? And then you have the Virtual Console. So one of the issues I saw with the Wii U is that Nintendo had the Wii U and the 3DS games in the eShop side by side. And they wouldn't let you purchase the games from the 3DS and then play them on the Wii U. That was the first problem I saw. The second problem that I saw is that we had a cartridge versus CD issue all over again. And we had just came from the cartridge versus CD back in the Nintendo 64, Sega Saturn, and PlayStation 1 era. But then there was the Virtual Console. So the Virtual Console had I think the NES, Super Nintendo, 64, Wii U, and I think the DS, but not the 3DS. So I'm like, okay. Everybody kept saying Nintendo put it out there. Oh, it's sales marketing, and why the Wii U failed. But that was not the problem. The problem with the Wii U is that you need to get rid of the 3DS. The 3DS was in the way of the Wii U, and was stopping the Wii U from growing. And most people kept buying the 3DS, thinking that the 3DS was better than the Wii U. Then you had people making YouTube videos saying that the 3DS was better than the Wii U. But that statement is false, and it's a lie. So Nintendo need to pull the 3DS out the way to make the Wii U thrive and grow. Then they needed to take the 3DS games and put them in the Virtual Console so we can play them on the Wii U. Right? But this Virtual Console now is special because what I got to find out was this. Is like, okay, and I didn't even go on the internet to get this information. I studied that Virtual Console from top to bottom, figured out what it was. The Virtual Console. What is video game preservation? The Virtual Console is the definition of it. Because the Virtual Console is like your bookstore, your library, your vault, and your archives for your video games. So what Nintendo should have been doing was taking the 3DS games and put them in the Virtual Console. Then they need to put the GameCube games in the Virtual Console. And then another thing they were supposed to do, they were supposed to make the Wii U backwards compatible with GameCube. The Wii U need to be refreshed. The Virtual Console now, it is your bookstore, your library, your vault, and your archive. So what else is the Virtual Console for? Here's what it is for. The Virtual Console was for natural disasters. There's two types of natural disasters in this world. One made by nature, one made by man. The one made by nature, you know about. Fires, floods, tsunamis, tornadoes, earthquakes, landslides. Those are natural disasters made by nature. The natural disasters made by man is what? Home invasions, burglaries, unemployment, foreclosures, job loss, vandalism, protests, political wildfires, wars that produce death, home loss, all of the above. That's what the Virtual Console is for. It's made for natural disasters. So that's what video game preservation is. So what Nintendo needed to do now was take all their games and put it inside the Virtual Console. Every one of them. Meaning the NES, the 8-bit Nintendo, Super Nintendo, 64, GameCube, Wii U. Even the games on the Switch were supposed to be in the Virtual Console. But they tried to build a new eShop claiming that they're doing something. But anyway, all the Game Boy games were supposed to be in the Virtual Console, meaning Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy SP, Game Boy Advance, the DS, the 3DS, right? That's all Nintendo's console games, right? What else can you put in the Virtual Console? You can put the Neo Geo. You can put Atari. You can put Panasonic 3DO. You can put Sega's games in the Virtual Console. So Nintendo had work to do, and they needed to give up the 3DS. Okay? And the Wii U needed to be refreshed. So what they did was this. They put this slogan out there. Oh, it's sales, marketing, commercial failure. Why the Wii U failed? To distract you, the public. But what they also did now was hurry up and build the Switch and told everybody, we're trying to be different. We're going to do gaming on the go. We're going in a different direction. That direction was nonsense because the Wii U had everything covered. So once they did that, they turn around now. Once they built the Switch and built this new eShop that they didn't need to build, they turned their attention to the emulation community and try to go after them and blame them for the emulation problem. But what Nintendo did was try to cover up the problem that they really needed to take care of, and that was the Virtual Console. Because the Virtual Console is all about what? Video game preservation. And what is video game preservation? People say, oh, it's to preserve video games alive. Yeah, it's about natural disasters because they happen on a constant basis in this world. And when you lose your material possessions, you need the Virtual Console to get all your games back. And that's what Nintendo was avoiding. They tried to blame the emulation community for the problems that they themselves created. Okay? So now you know what video game preservation is. Because it's all about natural disasters. It happens. One by nature and one by man. You already seen what happened to California during the Trump years in office. With all those wildfires that was happening. Now think of all those people who had video games within those wildfires and how much they lost. Can they get those games back? Just saying. Can they get them back? No, because these console manufacturers like to make excuses. So Nintendo had work to do on the Virtual Console, and they refused to do it. Okay? You had YouTubers who like to deflect. They like to defend Nintendo. If you put Nintendo on the spot, they try to defend them. They try to deflect, and they try to tell you, oh, it was sales, marketing, commercial failure. Why the Wii U failed? That statement ain't even true. There was a bigger problem brewing under the surface, and it was the virtual console, and they were trying to avoid it. So what they did was blame the emulation community for the problem that they were supposed to take care of, and that was the virtual console. They were supposed to put every single game in that virtual console to preserve video games. So when people in the world go through natural disasters, whether it's a tsunami, whether it's an earthquake, whether it's a landslide, whether it's a fire, any one of those natural disasters by nature or man, the virtual console now is like, okay, I can go back and get these games. And that's what they try to avoid. Okay? That's what video game preservation is. The virtual console is like your bookstore, your library, your vault, and your archive. Okay? And you're supposed to take every game and put it in the virtual console. A lot of games that you see on the Switch, they were really for the Wii U. Nintendo withheld games, content, and update from the system. For instance, the Wii was what? 733 megahertz with an 8 gig of storage CD. 733, that's the same specs as the original Xbox. That means every one of those games on the Wii, and then there's the GameCube, which was 485 megahertz, and it's using a 1 gig of storage CD. Every one of those games on the Wii and the GameCube, they're missing content. And all those content and update needed to be added to the Wii U's eShop. It never happened. Games like Call of Duty World at War, Modern Warfare 4 Reflex, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops, they need updates. Yeah, they need updates. And they need to be playable on the Wii U. But that never happened. So Nintendo was sitting there withholding games, content, and update from the system. All because they didn't want to give up the 3DS, and all because they didn't want to put the work that they need to put into the Wii U's virtual console. Yeah. So when it comes to this video game preservation, it's about natural disasters because they happen on a year-to-year basis. You don't know when they're going to happen. They just happen. You know? Does an earthquake tell you when it's coming? No, it doesn't. It just happens. And when you lose your material possessions in an earthquake and all that, and you can't get it back, where are you going to get those games from? I'm just saying. So yeah, that's what the virtual console is for. It's for natural disasters. That's what Steam is for. It's for natural disasters. That's what the PlayStation Store is for. It's for natural disasters. That's what the Xbox gaming store is for. It's for natural disasters. Because they happen on a constant basis. And that's what video game preservation is. It's about natural disasters. Yeah. So when it came to that virtual console, Nintendo had work to do. And they tried to avoid it. They refused to give the 3DS up. That's one. It's limited. And those games on the 3DS are missing a lot of content. Those games on the 3DS needed to be in the virtual console of the Wii U so it can collect all the updates. It never happened. Then on top of that, you couldn't buy the 3DS games from the Wii U's eShop so you can play them on the Wii U. That's what a lot of people didn't even see. Okay? They were so busy talking about sales, marketing, commercial failure, and they tried to talk about video game preservation, but they couldn't explain it. But they didn't see the bigger problem that was brewing. It was the virtual console. The virtual console is about natural disasters. They happen on a year-to-year basis in this world. They happen. And when you lose all your video games in a natural disaster, or you just lose them because of let's say foreclosure or whatever the case may be, where are you going to get those games back from that you just purchased? Just saying. So yeah, the virtual console Video game preservation is about natural disasters because they happen. You know, people lose jobs. You know, people go through foreclosures. You know. Yeah, it happens. You know, there's vandalism. Okay, there's wars. You know, there's a war going on with I think was it Russia and Ukraine right now. Yeah, they happen. When you lose all your material possessions in a war and all that, okay, where are you going to get those games back from? The exact same copy. Just saying. So yeah, it was about they're about natural disasters. That's what video game preservation is about. Natural disasters. It's not about preserving video games. It's about natural disasters because they happen on a year-to-year basis. Just saying. So when people were blaming the Wii U, Nintendo Corporation tried to blame the Wii U for its problems, but the Wii U was never the problem. It was Nintendo themselves. They were being stubborn. One, you had a cartridge versus CD problem. We just went through that. Number two, you needed to give up the 3DS. That was the other problem. Number three, you needed to take the 3DS games and put them in the eShop so we can play them on the Wii U. You never did that. Then the Wii U needed to be backwards compatible with GameCube because it needed to be refreshed. That was the four major problems that was happening with the Wii U. Then with the Wii U, you had a handheld and console in one. You had the best of both worlds. You had the best of both worlds. You had handheld console, and between the two, you had everything covered. Okay. Then there's the Wii U Pro controller that completes the Wii U. Yeah. Just saying. You got handheld, console. You got gaming on the go covered. You got portability covered. You got the console gaming covered. You had streaming covered. You had remote play covered. And all they had to do was just refresh the console and continue using it. But when they built the Switch, they lost a lot of those features. Just saying. Yeah. Video game preservation is about natural disasters, man. They happen. People say, video game preservation, okay. What is it? Okay, it's about preserving video games. Okay, go a little deeper. What is it? They couldn't explain it. But now they know it's about natural disasters. They happen. Okay? Look at all those wildfires in California that happened in California. Right now, California has a homeless problem right now. Just saying. Then there's California, earthquake capital. There's so many faults around this place. We don't know when the next quake gonna hit, but it's gonna hit. I'm just saying. We just went through a rainstorm a minute ago, and a lot of area got flooded. Natural disasters, they happen. And when you lose your material, when you lose your video games, okay, where are you gonna get where are you gonna get the copy from? Just saying. Yeah. Video game preservation is about natural disasters. They happen. The one by nature and the one by men. Okay? And this whole emulation problem was created by Nintendo because they didn't want to put all their games in the virtual console. They had work to do. They tried to avoid it. And they didn't want to give up the 3DS. Many people that bought the 3DS couldn't even tell. Many people that was buying the 3DS, they thought the 3DS was better than the Wii U. But little did they know that they had a handheld and console in one, and you can build both of them as powerful as you want it. They didn't know. Yeah. Video game preservation is about natural disasters. They happen. It ain't just about preserving video games. It's about natural disasters. One made by nature, one made by man. And they happen in this world a lot. Okay? Landslides? They happen. Volcanoes, they happen. Tsunamis, earthquakes, tornadoes, they happen. Yeah. And when you lose all your material possessions in those disasters, okay, where are you gonna get your games from? Just saying. Yeah. That's how deep it goes, man. So this whole Wii U situation, you know, people were bad mouthing the console because they themselves never studied it. They didn't know what they had in front of them. So when you don't know what you got in front of you, you tend to badmouth something. You know? But now Nintendo want to go at the emulation community. Oh, it's the emulation community's fault. No, it's not. It's you, the console manufacturer's fault. You had a job to do and you refused to do it. Just saying. So when it comes to this video game preservation stuff, it's about natural disasters. They happen. like they say in that commercial, where they say, disasters do happen. Be prepared. But there's one problem with that statement. They do happen, and it just comes. You can prepare all you want, but it happens. They just happen, man. So yeah, video game preservation is about natural disasters, man. They happen, and Nintendo tried to avoid that problem. You know, tried to avoid not preserving their games, and tried to use the emulation community as a scapegoat. You know? Right now, the Wii U's eShop should have never been closed. Should have never been closed. Should have been open. Mario Kart 8 should have never been offline because people still want to play their Mario Kart 8s. Just saying. Just saying. So yeah, those Call of Duties on the Wii should be playable on the Wii U right now. World at War, Modern Warfare 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, and Black Ops. They should be playable on the Wii U right now with the GameCube controller function, Wii Pro controller function, Wii Classic Pro controller function, Wii U Pro controller tablet function. Those games need to have the same functionality and utilization like Call of Duty Ghosts and Black Ops 2. Okay? Now that Microsoft has bought Activision Blizzard, Activision Blizzard got some games that they need to update on the Wii that should be playable on the Wii U. Just saying. So yeah, this video game preservation, it's really about natural disasters. Okay, that's what video game preservation is, because natural disasters, they do happen on a year-to-year basis. Okay, they happen. You know, and the console manufacturers' job is to preserve all those games that they make, but they refuse to do it. Just saying, they refuse to do something basic by saving all those games that they make. So the emulation community now pick up the slack and try to preserve these games, but Nintendo now, they want to go at the emulation community like the emulation community is the problem, when it was Nintendo that was supposed to take care of the problem in the first place before it get to this point. Just saying. Just saying, man. So yeah, video game preservation is about natural disasters. They happen, you know, on a year-to-year basis. On a year-to-year basis, man. It happens, man. So people blaming the Wii U for the problem? Nah, the Wii U is not the problem. Matter of fact, the Wii U is still current. It is still current right now. Still current. More current than the Switch. Just saying. Because you got that dual screen feature is hard to beat. Yeah. You know, so yeah. And, they should have continued using it. Yeah. So, you know, it's the video game industry is not based on sales, you know, not just sales alone, you know. Like what Phil Spencer said, Sales ain't the end all be all to video games. You know? And then Microsoft now, oh my God. You know, I'm gonna say that for another time. But anyway, look, video game preservation is about natural disasters. They happen. The one by nature and the one by man. They happen on a constant basis. Okay? And when you lose all your video games that you pay for, where are you gonna get them? Where are you gonna get them back from? You know, your original copy. Where are you gonna get it from? And that's the question. And that's the question that the video game industry needs to answer. These console manufacturers, they need to answer this question. They cannot avoid it. Ever. They cannot avoid it. Or it's going to constantly be a problem. I mean, you can build all the new console you want to, but if you don't have like a virtual console that's like your bookstore, it's like your bookstore, your library, your vault, and your archive, where you store all the video games that you have made. Then what you in the video game industry for? You know, they got to preserve these games. They got to preserve these games, you know. And then they want us to buy the same games twice to make us look like we never had it. Just saying. Natural disasters do happen in this world. They happen, you know. And when you lose your material possessions and when they happen, where are you going to get your games back from? Yeah. So the video game console makers, they need to address this problem. And it's a big problem. You know, they can't avoid it anymore. It ain't just about, oh, we build a new console and you run out to the store and buy new games. But what about preserving the games that you make? Just saying. Yeah. So the Xbox, I mean, Valve already got Steam, but Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft got to answer this question. They got to answer this question. They need to have a hard look in the mirror, like, okay, it's not just about building new consoles and all that. That sounds cool and all, but what about preserving the games that you make for these consoles? Yeah. Natural disasters do happen. Just saying. But that's just my thoughts on it, though. So when it comes to this video game preservation is about natural disasters. One made by nature, one made by man. And they happen on a constant basis. Anyway, leave this video for y'all to enjoy. Nice talking to you people again. Chris, still Star Wars and Star Trek thing for Dark Side. Peace.